welcome back to the Hour Back Report, episode 3. I'm Jordan, joined by Jamie and Jack. We got the Celtics at 2-3. So they're what? They're 2-2 since we last recorded, and we went through the whole trials and tribulations of the it's so over tanking for DeBonsta to banner 19 back on in the span of 7 days. So Boston sports is officially back. How you boys doing tonight?
I mean, we got a winning streak going, so let's take that. Boys looking good.
Yeah, it's nice to get a win as a home underdog because the Celtics have not been home underdogs a lot over the past couple of years. So nice to do that.
Yeah, the underdog arc for the Boston Celtics is going to be in full effect. It dawned on me tonight when Doris Burke was ironically making this point in favor of the Cavaliers with all their injuries. The Red Sox. There's the baseball mention. The Celtics have the built-in excuse all year of, well, Tatum didn't play, so that's going to be I'm going to be using that like the LeBron step back this season. But yeah, I mean we'll go through each of the games.
They're 5-0 if they had Tatum.
Yeah, I think you're like partially kidding, but I'm like they probably are. Like I'd be willing. I mean, they lost their 3 games by a combined total of 17 points. So
yeah,
they were in. I mean, they were like loosely in that Knicks game, and we'll go through each game. We'll probably spend most of our time talking about the most recent one because why wouldn't we? It's the one that more people probably want to talk about than beating up on the Pelicans is whatever. Beating up on the Cavs. That means a little bit more, but like they were loosely in that Knicks game, but they ultimately only lost it by 10. So they were minus 17 after 3 games, and then they beat the Pels by 32. So they were plus 15 as a team at 1-3. They were like 7th in offensive efficiency entering play tonight, which is hilarious considering the 1-3 record, but. I'll be honest, I didn't watch a whole lot of the Celtics Knicks game. I watched the last like 7 or 8 minutes of it. So I'm mostly basing this off the box score, my opinion, and killing my own credibility. But Jamie, I'll throw it to you. What were your thoughts on that showing? I mean, we all thought they were going to lose that game, but what were your thoughts on that showing from them?
I mean, I thought better than it was going to go. I feel like they were in it more. I thought it might be a blowout going into it. So the fact that they kept it close for most of it, I was kind of surprised by that. But we've seen, I feel like the last 2 nights, like the bench has looked a lot better. But they'll take that over a blowout.
Yeah, for sure. And they didn't quit, which I thought was nice. And I'm basing this off of the fourth quarter, but they were getting blown out when the fourth quarter started. So if there's anything I can make an educated opinion on, it's how the fourth quarter unfolded. Jack, what were your thoughts on that game?
I mean, I think the big takeaway from that game, besides the things that are like overarching things that like are kind of clear across the board through this 5-game sample size, is that was the Gonzalez, okay, I'm an NBA player moment. And it's nice to see that and his minutes have been inconsistent across the board. And they're kind of juggling a lot of guys between a lot of spots because, it seems right now they've got locked in, obviously, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Kada, and then Hauser and Simons and Minott are kind of like also big parts of the rotation. But beyond that, with Boucher, with Tillman, with Garza, with Gonzalez, it seems like it's going to be more matchup based and who's hot based, who's going to actually get into the games. But Gonzalez looks really good that game and made winning plays, even in a loss. It gave you like a good feeling that like in a game you lost by 10, he had a +7. And I know, there was some in the fourth quarter where you were kind of out of it, but battled back a little. But, you want to be nailing these picks, especially because Jordan Walsh hasn't contributed to anything really. It seems like at this point that pick was a wash. And so over the past few years, you really haven't had your first round picks ever since Peyton Pritchard really contribute to winning basketball for you, because obviously other guys have turned into trades and everything's worked out. And obviously Aaron Nesmith is a winning player in Indiana. He's just not a winning player for you because you turned him into Brogdon and that into Holiday. But long story short, you want Gonzalez to be a contributor on this team. And that Knicks game made me feel like, okay, this is a guy who can be a really solid wing, especially on the defensive end for you.
Yeah, and they piggybacked that into having him start game 3 of the season against the Pistons, which was gigantic. I think he joined Al Jefferson and Jason Tatum as the youngest or the only guys on the in Celtics. Was it Celtics history or the 2000s to start a game under the age of 20, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, Tatum was on a much better team when he started, so his is still more impressive. I'm sorry, I gotta denigrate another player to prop up Jason Tatum. Always, that's what people do on the other side for him. But
and
before,
he's still only 19.
And he is still only 19. So like if Ben Simmons can win Rookie of the Year in year 7, then Jason Tatum can be 19 forever. He'll be the youngest person to retire, even though he'll have a 20-year career. He'll have a longer career than he'll have time spent on this earth by the time it's all said and done. Deuce will at one point be older than him, which is crazy to think about. But before getting into the Pistons game, again, mostly this is based off of looking at the box score, but it's something that I noticed in game 1. See it again happen in game 2, and I was talking about it I'm in a Celtics group chat on Twitter. We were talking about Derek White's shooting splits, what it's going to look like at the end of the year, which, I mean, it's been 5 games, so there's a whole lot of season left. But I think we are going to see a lot of people's opinions based, again, on what I'm doing with box score watching. But at the end of the day, it's just going to be because Tatum's not there to save him from these really bad shooting nights. Like, he went 3 for 11 from 3 and 5 of 18 overall against the Knicks. If Tatum's playing, you could probably cut that shot total down to like 14. And I think that's going to be kind of what we see as a trend. Like, those bad shooting nights, White's just going to have to try and shoot himself out of it. So what would be like a 7 for 19 turns into an 8 for 26. What would have probably been like a 4 for 14, maybe 3 of 9 from 3 turns into 5 of 18 and 3 of 11 from 3. He'll still get his. He'll still probably average about 20 to 22 points a game. But those shooting numbers there's going to be some stretches where you're like, Derek, what the fuck? It's like,
yeah.
And it is what it is, but
yeah. And that's something that, like, in terms of like the overarching things that, like I was mentioning, yeah, that's something that through 5 games, even with the 2 wins, you've seen with White and also with Pritchard, the efficiency's been rough, both from the field and from 3. And, you've become accustomed to those guys being hyper efficient because when Derek White's the 4th option on a team and Peyton Pritchard's a 6th man who's like kind of like the 5th, 6th option on the team, they get that ability to, get better looks, better shots, and hit them more often. And, I don't think over the course of this year we're going to see those 2 guys with what a catch. Sorry.
For all sports podcasts.
Yeah. Oh my God. What a play in right field. But sorry. But yeah, the Pritchard and White are too good to shoot this inefficiently over the course of a full season, but they're not probably going to look as efficient as they have in general. On the other side of things, Jaylen Brown has been hyper efficient to start this season as the primary scorer, which is the thing in our first episode. We were kind of concerned about what a primary scorer Jaylen might do to his efficiency. And the turnovers are still very much there. And we'll see if over the course of the season he can get those down. He's going to need to get those down. Jordan,
it's year like what 9 of Jaylen Brown. Probably not going to happen, which is fine. I mean, if he's the problem with Jaylen, like turning the ball over, is when he's also not shooting, because he doesn't do it. I'm going to try and make this sound nice, even though because I know it's going to sound. Sorry, I know this is going to sound like a mean, like anti-Jaylen statement. It's not. but he doesn't really do a whole lot on the box score other than put the ball in the basket. So when he's turning the ball over and also not shooting efficiently, it's really, really, really bad. Like, at least when Tatum has his random 7 turnover game that's also coupled with a 5 of 18 shooting, like, he's got 9 boards, 6 assists, probably at minimum, again, because he's one of the only dudes on the team who likes rebounding, although I think Josh Minott and Luka Garza kind of have randomly decided that they love rebounding the ball. But Jalen, again, 23, 4 and 3 against the Knicks. Even tonight, not to jump too far ahead, he scored over 30, but he had like 4 boards and 2 assists. Like, he doesn't do a whole lot on the box score except put it in the hoop, which is fine. And maybe that's the best course of action for the Celtics to be good, is to just let Jalen kind of get his and have like ball movement happen around him to get him the ball a lot more. And if he's shooting efficiently, there's going to be a lot more catch and shoot opportunities for him as well. But yeah, I've noticed that about him is it's like having Andrew Wiggins. And I say that endearingly in this case. I don't say that in like when he was on Minnesota and he was dropping like 40 points and no assists and a rebound. Andrew Wiggins is a good player. And so is Jaylen Brown. Jalen, I've just compared you to a number 1 overall pick. This game also did bring the meme of the season with Jalen's hairline rubbing off on OG Anunoby's jersey.
That's like a top 5 season highlight so far, right there.
It might have some staying power too. Like, we're gonna be talking about this in March. Be like, remember when Jalen's hairline rubbed off on OG Anunoby's jersey? And the thing with Jalen is his hairline's not even like fucked either. So he just does that for the love of the game.
Hey, respect it.
Dude, spray on hairline despite not really needing it. Now he needs to make a comeback by bringing back some sort of, if it's the flat top. If Jalen brings back the flat top, I might hang Banner 19
after a trip to Turkey.
Yeah, after a trip to Turkey. Do you think he's no, because Enes Cantor Freedom is not allowed there. So I was gonna say, you think he'll visit?
Or is his trip
to Puerto Rico? Guy, though.
He might, but I don't think that's kind of a person whose name you want to be throwing around on a trip to Turkey. Be like, oh, I used to play with Enes Freedom. Jalen won't make it back.
But then we get Cameron Boozer.
But is that worth him being taken as prisoner in Turkey? It probably
no. But like, if it's
we'd have to trade Cam Boozer to get him back. Anyway,
I mean, I'm okay with that trade. That's a good trade right there.
Trading Cam Boozer to Turkey for Jaylen Brown.
Straight up 1-for-1, no picks or anything.
No pick swaps. No financial ramifications.
That would honestly be like a fun wrinkle if like professional teams could like trade with nations.
We're trading Jaylen Brown trading the number 1 overall pick, which won't be the number 1 overall pick. It'll end up being like 13th at worst, probably. To get Jaylen Brown out of Turkish prison after he
Imagine the trade deadline like 1 minute before. Shams just like, yeah, Pistons have traded with Greece.
Woj would unretire to drop the international trade.
Oh man. But yeah, Celtics lose 105-95. I mean, I think as far as like defense, so we saw how bad it was in the backcourt against the Sixers and a lot of offensive rebounds. So 117 points what they gave up. Defensively, they're not really giving up a crap ton of points. Like 105 points, you're going to win probably more of those games than you lose over the course of the full season. Even against the Knicks. So like you play the Knicks again, you give up 105 points to them. I'd be kind of shocked if they lost that again. Again, Derek went 3 of 11 from 3. Pritchard went 1 of 7.
you need to limit these 40-point quarters you're allowing, though. Because
Yeah.
you gave up the 40-point quarter against the Sixers, you gave up the 40-point quarter against the Knicks, and then even tonight in the win against the Cavs. And I know the first quarter was just a shootout where you both scored 40, but like that's not a recipe for winning basketball, and you're consistently giving up 40-point quarters. And even in the Pistons game, I think they had like a 36-37-point quarter, which, rapidly approaching that 40 number. It was only the Pelicans game, which they were able to fully avoid that sort of quarter meltdown. Celtics always are like weird. We obviously had like many years of the third quarter Celtics just being the worst team in basketball history. This year, at least, they're mixing it up. We never know when it will be, but they need to limit that. But I mean, with the backcourt, who knows what it's going to look like, because besides Derek White, there just isn't a lot there that's going to stay in front of a lot of good scoring guards. So that could be the real thing that continuously like kills them over the course of the season and costs them games that they otherwise could win.
Yeah, I did notice that too, the 40-point quarters, and they actually gave a back-to-back 36 points in the second quarter against the Pistons and 34 in the third quarter. So they were up 9 after 1 against Detroit, and then down 2 at the half, and then down 13 after 3. And they made a game of it, and I think they at one point cut it to 4, and then Jalen Duren killed them in that Detroit game. Do we have any last thoughts on the Knicks game before we move on to Detroit? No. All right. Yeah, Duren killed them in this game. I think he had 16 rebounds. Quickly flip and open the box score just to confirm that. 24 points, 18 rebounds, and then Asar Thompson had 21 and 12. Like Cade wasn't anything special. He had 25 points. Just because he's Cade Cunningham, he's the primary guy over there in Detroit. But you got killed by, again, Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren, both really good players. I like Jalen Duren especially as a big, and maybe it's because the Celtics don't have a big, but yeah, the Duren also shot 13 free throws. That really made me upset. He also made 12 of them, and then like you ruined a Jaylen Brown 40-point masterclass where he was 12 of 25 on the floor and 5 of 9 from 3. Again, to Jack's earlier point about him being uber efficient. Like he had an efficient 40 ball mixed into this stretch of play. So Derek again 3 of 11 from 3 in this one, but Ugo didn't make a single shot in his start, but I felt like he looked pretty good defensively in this game against Cade.
Yeah.
I think Cade shot 20% against him, and he shot like 70% against everybody else in this one. So, Jamie, any main takeaways from this game against Detroit?
I feel like the big thing is you saw them kind of live and die by the 3. I mean, they went 15 for 45 from 3, and it's like you make 2 or 3 of those more, either tied or win it. So, I mean, I feel like it's just one of those games where, they couldn't hit a 3 for the majority of it, and that's not going to happen every game. I mean, we saw tonight in the first half alone, they made like 10 or 12 or whatever the number was. So it's kind of like, I mean, giving up 119, 120, you never want to do that, but I feel like if they had been a little better shooting, that probably would have been a win.
Yeah, the usual suspects, and I say that because it's again a 5-game sample size, but I just mentioned Pritchard and White in game 2 of the season both shot like crap from 3. Against the Pistons, White was 3 of 11, Pritchard was 2 of 8, and Simons was 2 of 7. You get one of those guys making shooting it a little bit better. I mean, Pritchard had a good game. He was 8 of 16 for 21 points, had 10 rebounds, which is hilarious. Anytime it's not gonna be the last time Pritchard pops a double-double with rebounds and points, but he shot 2 of 8 from 3. And if he shoots, 6 of 16, but is 5 of 8 from 3, I don't know. That's bad. I can't do math. We'll just, but threes feel like they're worth more than the 1 point difference on a 2, if that makes sense. Like when the Celtics are hitting threes, because they feed off of guys like this. Like when Pritchard makes, he goes like 4 of 7 from three. These motherfuckers shoot like 60% as a team from distance. They feed off of these energy guys, and I don't know how many games this year that all three of those guys are going to shoot like crap, but they did in this one, and they lost by 6, and that's with giving up 24 and 18 to Jalen Duren. Jack, any takeaways from this Pistons game?
I mean, this game I think was like the one where like there really isn't too much that's like actually like super interesting that happened in it. Like it kind of just outside of Gonzalez starting, and obviously we see they pull the plug on that in the next game. But yeah, I mean, the shooting has been super inconsistent, even in the wins to start this season. And this loss, you didn't get it. And, we talked about how they're going to struggle as a rebounding team. And Jalen Duren is a guy who's going to exploit that. And Duren isn't like some massive giant guy. He's 6'10", but he's athletic as hell. And he attacks the glass. And when you don't have like a true, like big, like, and Cade he's been solid to start the season, and the flaws with Cade are still there. He commits too many fouls. Like he's a flawed player, but he's on the whole given everything you could have wanted out of Cade to this point in the season. But like you don't have a true like guy you want to rely on at that position, and you're seeing that be able to be exploited against teams like Detroit. And it is what it is. It's a loss that you're like, yeah, if a few things went differently, a few of those threes went in, if one of White or Pritchard or Simons or someone got hot in that game, you probably win it, considering it was still close, even in spite of everything going wrong. But when you don't have a Jason Tatum to bail you out, or a Kristaps to be a 7'3" body near the rim to make life harder on people, all of a sudden those games that you could normally get away with winning based on talent, you're not going to win this season.
Yeah, I think the way that this team, like again, when we did our like preseason predictions, I think, where did you have them, Jack? None of us had them above like the 5 seed or the 4
Yeah,
seed.
I had them like 5th or 6th seed somewhere.
Yeah. So I also had them as the 6 seed. Jamie, I think you said play in like in that like 9, 8, 9 seed range. Like that's what teams that are that kind of talent level look like. They have games where their fatal flaws are so like mind-numbingly annoying to watch unfold, because for us watching at home on the couch, I'm not athletic at all. I'm just over here yelling to box out this 6'10" dude built like a brick shithouse. And like it's not always that simple. I mean, it can be, but like, sometimes you give up offensive rebounds even when you are boxing a guy out. But we saw it in this game that they shot really well early. I think they started up 14-2, and then it just got wilted away. And the Pistons are going to be a good team, and they're going to be especially tough at home. That market is aggressively hoping for a team to pop off in that city. And I mean, the Lions and the Tigers have been good, but I feel like, I don't know, when the Pistons are good, it's really popping over there, which I say that like I've been around for a long time. I think the Pistons have been good precisely 4 years in my basketball fandom, but they were
way back in the day.
They were going crazy when Blake Griffin was there. Still can't believe Blake Griffin was a Piston. He was a damn good one too for a little bit until his knees decided they stopped working. But yeah, I liked what I've liked to see so far, regardless of record and the end result of the game, is kind of how the mind is working for Joe Mazzulla. But like 2 games with Hauser starting, and they immediately pulled the plug on it and tried Hugo Gonzalez. And again, defensively, I thought he looked good. Offensively, he only got 2 shots, so hard to really judge him based on that. But it was only 1 game, and they immediately moved on to Josh Minott, and we'll get into that when we get into the Pels and Cavs games. I know we're going to probably spend most of the time we're recording talking about the Cavs game. So if I don't know if anyone has any last thoughts on this one before moving on to New Orleans.
You mean the Matt Garza game?
Nah, you mean Luka
Luka
Garza?
Garza, yes. That was my
If
biggest
Matt Garza could probably play center at this point for the Celtics, give him a call.
Cubs legend.
Cubs legend, Rays legend, Twins legend, Brewers legend. I think that's it. But yeah, so Celtics then on the second night of a back-to-back take on the Zion-less New Orleans Pelicans, which at this point are just the New Orleans Pelicans. Like I feel like when Zion plays, it's almost like when an artist is featured on a song. Because it's like he's not really on the team. He's just sometimes he plays with them. And I don't think he was saving them in this game. They got belt to ass. Celtics win by 32. Again, like I mentioned earlier, they were plus 15 as a team in point differential after this game at 1-3. And we got Josh Minott was plus 42. Holy shit. In his first start with the Celtics. Anthony Simons led the team in scoring with 25. And this was a rare fun night in the early stages of this season for being a Celtics fan. It was nice because after the Pistons game, I think I sent a message in our chat saying 0-5 definitely on the table for when we record, and I'm glad that's not the case. But Jack, what are your main takeaways from New Orleans?
That might not save the season. That's really what it is. When they're selling those T-shirts across the street from TD, if this team is 20 and 20, 40 games in, those why not my not shirts are gonna move numbers when he's averaging 8 points a game and just playing like a maniac. But he's been awesome. He's an athlete. He plays hard. He crashes the glass, and he knows what he is, which is I'm a young athletic role player, and I'm not going to try and do more than that. And it was great. Obviously, he had the awesome dunk where he then almost died. And then we got that awesome Mazzulla quote after the game, basically being like, yeah, well, that would have been bad if he died.
No, I think what he said was if he got hurt, he'd never play again.
Yeah. And then he also had the awesome DeAndre Jordan quote during that game when after DeAndre Jordan dunked, he was like, this guy was unemployed 4 days ago and you let him dunk on you. I love Joe Mazzulla.
He's hilarious.
He's so funny. But yeah, I mean, Minott, it seems like, once again, it's only been 2 games, but in the 2 games he's started, they've won. And
convincingly.
Yeah, so I think they've figured out who the final member of the starting lineup is, at least for a bit, and until they need to shuffle again if they go on another losing streak or an injury or whatever happens. But I think at this point he's that fifth guy to go along with Pritchard, White, Brown, Keita. And then, you finally got an explosion out of Simons where he'd been quiet most of the first couple games, a little inefficient, but wasn't like bad either. He wasn't getting to the lows that Pritchard was getting in terms of the efficiency, but it was still like, okay, you're waiting for that explosion because you've seen, obviously in Portland, this is a guy who's averaged over 20 a game in the NBA, which I know a lot of guys do, especially volume scorers on bad teams, which Portland was. But you still have to have some level of ability to do it. And he popped off for 25, did it relatively efficiently, 6 for 13 from 3. When you're shooting that many, I can live with that. And, when you don't have Zion in there, who do you fear as a scoring weapon? They traded away Brandon Ingram, and they don't have Zion, so it's like, I'm not going to live in fear of Jordan Poole. So this should beat as depleted as you are, and you did, even on the road. You took care of business, won convincingly. And so it made me convinced, okay, you're not getting Boozer unless there's a turkey trade involved.
That apparently that we can make that happen. We can make that happen. Just trust. Yeah, I think the one dude on the Pelicans that kind of gave me any sort of fear, and that's just because he scored I think 35 against the Celtics last year when Tatum hit the game winner in New Orleans. It's Trey Murphy,
Yeah.
but he went 3 of 11, 7 points. You know that you're not coming back from that. Jordan Poole is probably one of the funniest players in the entire league in the sense that like he's. How do you go from contributor on a title team to like the Wizards and then somehow downgrade again to New Orleans now? I mean, it's probably not a downgrade, but like where he goes, his teams fucking suck. Like he goes to bad teams, and that's just gonna probably be like his niche is getting paid and
he's new
going and playing
D'Angelo
for bad
Russell.
guys. Yeah, but D'Lo at least went back to good teams. I just don't see anyone wanting to put up with Jordan Poole. He's so annoying, and there's like I think one of the things I have learned over the course of the last 2 years is I can totally see why Draymond Green punched him in the face. And I say that as a fellow Jordan. Like I stick by my guys. He definitely I can see why teammates would not like him. Just the way he carries himself, the way he plays the game, his shot selection is brutal still. He's constantly complaining to the officials like he's some star because he made a half court shot in the finals. Like Peyton Pritchard did the same thing. He doesn't act like Jordan Poole. He's also better than Jordan Poole.
My last in-person Celtics game at TD Garden was against the Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma Wizards, and so I've seen it firsthand, and it's like, yeah, he has that level of entitlement that's like kind of funny when he's on a court with Tatum and Brown and Porzingis, and he thinks he's the best player there. He really does, and it's just like you're not.
Yeah.
You're not even the best player on your team. Corey Kispert was the best player on the Wizards that night. He was better than either Poole or Kuzma. Corey Kispert was like the only person putting the ball in the net.
Corey Kispert's a 2K legend as well. That dude does not miss any threes. But yeah, he's not like I'm looking at this lineup for the Pelicans, and Poole is probably the third best player here. Herb Jones and Trey Murphy ahead of him. Sadiq Bey haunts me because he pop 50 for the Pistons against the Celtics once. So not super. Him, I think he started the game at center. Like he did the opening tip, and I was like, this man is their starting center. If the Celtics lose tonight, they're definitely getting the number 1 pick. And then it dawned on me that Sadiq Bey has a 50 ball against them, and I'm like, oh, maybe not. Maybe it's just a Sadiq Bey legacy game. He only scored 11 points. Nobody on the Pels played well except for DeAndre Jordan, who had 7 and 5 in 11 minutes off the bench. Which, by the way, why does DeAndre Jordan have that like the look, like that the way like he's fully adopted the Unk look, that facial hair. No, like he's like buzzed his hair. Like he looks like Unk.
I just don't
committed.
understand why he went from unemployment to the Pelicans, unless it's just like the long game of I'll get bought out, so it's fine, or I'll get traded at the deadline. But it's like when you're that old, like what? And I understand, like, yeah, another $3 million or whatever the hell he's getting is probably a nice thing to put in the bank account for the kids. But like, what's the point of coming off the bench for the Pelicans in 2025? Like that's got to be demoralizing. Like you were first team All NBA,
and he's got a ring too. So like, what's he?
Yeah, it's like, and like a very underappreciated player because he didn't really ever score. So like people kind of just like made fun of him when he was like All NBA first team over DeMarcus Cousins, which was completely right. He was a way better overall player than Cousins because Cousins was so bad on defense. But it's just kind of the same shit Gobert gets. DeAndre Jordan got even before Gobert. But yeah, I don't see the point of playing for the Pelicans at this point in your life unless you either just completely love basketball or completely hate yourself.
I think it's a little bit of both.
It's gotta be a little bit of both. Or maybe he thought, so there's a little bit of delusion involved. Maybe he thought he saw the pictures of Zion and how like cut he was. And he's like, oh, we're getting a motivated Zion this year, and then forgot that he still actually has to play basketball for that to be true. And yeah, just think of it this way: the Celtics are rolling Nemish Queta out there as their starting center, and they did not even. I doubt they even called DeAndre Jordan at any point about bringing him in. I genuinely think he'd be the worst center on the roster. Maybe better than Chris Boucher, but I don't really think Boucher is a center. I just think he might have to play center sometimes. I feel similarly about Tillman. Like he's kind of a 4. Like he'd be better suited to be out there with another big. The only problem is the bigs the Celtics have. Like he'd have to be out there with like Garza, because Garza can stretch the floor and is actually athletic enough to play down low, and Tillman can kind of just exist. But yeah, DeAndre Jordan would definitely be the worst like actual center on the Boston Celtics. But hey, he got 7-5 against them in the game they lost by 32.
And they might have lost by 34 if not for him.
Well, he was only a -5 in the 37 minutes that they did not have DeAndre Jordan on the floor. They were -27. So I don't know how that translates math-wise. Again, I'm not doing any math. I'm just saying things and hoping somebody is like, "No, that's a compelling argument." But yeah, really, really doing a good job of building credibility here. At least with my math skills.
Baby steps.
Yeah, but I know Jack, you mentioned it already. Minott was awesome in this game, 15 and 9. I think we mentioned this after the Philly game that like rebounding is really like about effort. So I think at some point, maybe it was after getting embarrassed by Jalen Duren, they were like, maybe we should try to get the rebound. They all just watched was it Taurean Prince when he was in college that was asked about getting out rebounded by Stanford, and he was like, so the shot goes up and it's on the rim, and then when it comes off, you grab it with your hands, and that's called a rebound, and they got more of those than we did. Like, I feel like they watched that speech on repeat for a short amount of time. It was a back-to-back.
That
because
feels
they've rebounded
so
a lot better lately.
Coded too. I'm surprised we've never gotten Taurean Prince, because him and Mazzulla would be on the same weirdo level.
Is Prince even still playing?
I think so. I think he's somewhere.
Let's see. Well, what's
he's on the Bucks.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's a shame the Bucks are good, because you're right. He's actually shooting 61% from 3 this year. So, on 3 attempts a game, he's making 2 of them. So he's definitely a Mazzulla ball guy. He's only been in the league for 12 years. I say that like that's not a long period of time. Half my life almost. Taurean Prince has been in the league.
Yeah, he's a career 39% 3-point shooter. So like totally would be a Mazzulla ball guy.
Mazzulla ball. He shoots efficiently, and he is sarcastic with the media. This guy needs to be a Celtic pronto at some point. If not this year, then next. Jamie, what are your main takeaways from this route of the New Orleans Pelicans?
I kind of like how everyone contributed. It seemed like, Neme led them in rebounds with 11. Garza, Luke, Matt, whatever cousin's first name, led them in points with 25. Pritchard led them in assists with 8. I like how everyone, dipped in. It seemed like they got contributions from everyone, whether it was starter, bench guys you didn't necessarily expect. Which I feel like sometimes you're going to need that, especially we've talked about with bigs, you're going to need Canada to kind of get 8, 12 rebounds a game or kind of step up in that regard. It was good to see, the bench scoring too.
Yeah, and they Ron Harper got into the game, so did Jordan Walsh. Baylor Shireman made a 3, which is something that he doesn't do very often, so gotta give props to our boy. Yeah, Luka Garza 3 of 4 from 3 off the bench, 16 points. He had 6 rebounds. Anthony Simons had 6 rebounds as well. It felt like he was kind of a lock to be like a 2 rebound maximum kind of guy, especially coming off the bench. And he's actually been putting in like the third effort both on defense and on the glass, which is awesome to see, because I know a lot of people were not excited about those other things with Anthony Simons when he got traded over here, especially because he's a better scorer than Drew, but Drew is so much better at everything else that it kind of felt like you were maybe getting a little bit worse, at least from a complimentary standpoint. So, but I wouldn't say Simons has been Drew levels of rebounding and playmaking and defense, but he's been a pleasant surprise by comparison, because I thought he was going to be a butcher, and that just hasn't been the case. His on-off splits were horrible entering this game, but that's also because he wasn't shooting well, I think.
Yeah, and like the thing is with him, with the effort level and stuff, he knows it's a contract here, and he's playing on a team that, even though obviously there's less expectations this year, they've won a championship in recent memory. So like he's under a microscope. He's playing for a contract, and he knows, every little thing I do to help me get that extra money is worth doing. And he had that quote preseason where he's basically like, in Portland, no one ever asked me to play defense, which like you probably shouldn't have had it been asked. But if that's what he's going with, there was never any expectation for me to put in the effort there. And now, with Mazzulla and with this franchise, there is that expectation, and I'm going to, meet that expectation. That shows something both to the Celtics if, this ends up being more of a long-term fit, or, to wherever he ends up playing next season.
Yeah, and I think also, after what happened with Aroldis Chapman this year with the Red Sox, no quote that a player says about like, this team didn't ask me to do that will ever surprise me. Like, oh, I didn't know strikes were good. I didn't know not allowing baskets was a good thing. It's fine. I mean, I get it. I get it to a degree, because like Portland, what were they ever going to win? I know that they were like, they had that one year where they were the 1 seed with Dame, and I think it was Simon's rookie year or maybe his second year in the league. And they had like that one, the bubble year where I think they made it to the semis, and they had another conference finals year, but they were never going to win a finals. So like, you want to build the team to be as fun as humanly possible if you're not going to win it all in the end. And the best way to do that is score a shit ton of points and play like a track meet style of basketball. And I feel like the way that the Celtics have played the last couple of games has almost been that, but they're doing it with freak athletes on the defensive side of the floor. And I think that's a really good, like a really nice way of them playing, especially because they have so many guys on the floor that aren't real offensive threats. Like Minott scored the last couple games, but I'd be shocked if he's averaging 12 points a game at the end of the season. He'll probably have like 7, maybe. Same with Luka Garza, probably not going to average double-digit points off the bench this year. Baylor Shireman doesn't score, period, but I think they see these guys as like, go out there, be a freaking a nuisance on defense, and use your 6 fouls and like lean into like turning their flaws almost into strength. It's like you play carefree, and I say it endearingly, it's not careless, but like Nimi works his ass off, but he fouls a lot. And kind of leaning into that and being like, just like, I don't want you to not foul, but just clean up the stupid ones. Like if you're being aggressive and you foul a guy, sure. But if a dude like very clearly is about to score and you just like put your hand in the small of their back and get a foul and they get an extra point out of it, like that's stupid. And so like Nimi's, other than the Sixers game, I feel like Nimi's been better about the fouls he is committing. And like Minott fouls a bunch of dudes, but he is a bat out of hell. That dude is constantly moving. It like scares me almost. Like if he stands still at any point, I feel like he's like shutting down. And that's really that's going to be a horrifying moment. Even when he's at the line, he's like moving like crazy. It's nice to see like that they're the activity level has definitely improved since getting embarrassed, I think, by Duran and Thompson on the glass these last 2 games. And yeah, I mean, we spent a lot of time kind of talking around this game, the Pelicans game. I don't really think there's a whole lot to take away when you win a game by 30 points, other than, wow, the Pelicans are shit, and the Celtics are very clearly a better team than New Orleans, especially a New Orleans team without Zion Williamson.
Without DeJounte Murray as well.
Yeah, true. That is true. But any final thoughts before we move into the game that just concluded about an hour ago at this point? All right. Celtics, Cavaliers. Cavs without Darius Garland. He's not going to be back until at some point in November. They're at least that's the hope for the
Feels like it
Cavs.
might be even later.
Yeah. So they started Jalen Tyson tonight, who I learned is the brother of shout out Sun Devils ASU legend Jordan Tyson.
I know he got like cooked in the playoffs. I don't get why they didn't match the Memphis offer for Ty Jerome. That really made no sense to me. It's like, and I know, yeah, he looked bad on defense in the playoffs, but especially with and obviously you knew Garland was going to miss time at the end of it. You didn't know exactly how much, but like he's getting $8 million a year from Memphis for the guy who was the runner-up to Pritchard for sixth man of the year. It's like he at least would have kept you alive through this stretch until you get Garland back. That made no sense to me that they didn't match that offer.
Yeah, he was a freak for them last year, and maybe they thought it was just the UVA devil magic, so they're only going to get that 1 year out of him because like the Heat did the same thing with Kyle Guy, and then he left and was terrible. But also the Heat have devil magic as well. But they got steamrolled, and I mean they went ice cold from three. I think they made 10 threes in the first quarter. Did Cleveland, and then Donovan Mitchell had like hamstring issues today that cropped up, and he was kind of a last minute. Is he actually going to play today? And he ran out of gas. Like he was 4 for 4 from three, and then finished 5 of 9 from three. He only had 15 points. He actually had the fewest points of any starter on the for the Cavs tonight. At 15, all of them scored at least 15 points. Their bench was dog shit. Dean Wade and Craig Porter Jr. combined for 13 of the 17 bench or 18 bench points for the Cavs. Sam Hauser alone outscored the Cavs bench with 21. He was 7 of 13 from three. That's the Sam Hauser I like, the one who doesn't take a single two-pointer, but still shoots like 14 times, 13 times. But yeah, Celtics absolutely, bitch smacked the Cavs after that 42-40 first quarter that Cleveland won. Celtics ended the first half on a 17-3 run. That was the game right there.
Jalen pulling his Pritchard by beating the buzzer.
Yeah, that stretch of play killed Cleveland. I know that the Cavs at one point cut it to I think 9 in the second half. I had no faith in them to make a game of this. Like truly make a game of it. Jamie, what are your thoughts on this game?
I was impressed by how they played. I mean, you talked about they allowed 42 in the first, but then 18 in the second, 25-20. It was nice to see the defense get better as it go on and not have that 40-point quarter coming like the third or the fourth. I feel like Pritchard played really well. It's just distributing the ball, not turning it over. Obviously, they did a lot better from three, and Jalen went off, but I just liked how the defense got better as the game went on. It was another great night from Simons. Kata, too, had another great night. Kind of had everyone contributing again like they did against the Pelicans.
Yeah, one foul for Nemi tonight. That's crazy. Jack, what are your thoughts on this game?
I mean, this was the first time this season they weren't expected to win a game, and then and especially at home, and then they went out and they did it. So that showed, it's their first like real character win, because like that Pelicans game, if they lost, I would have felt really bad about things, honestly, because it's like you got to beat that Pelicans team with no Zion. But like this is a Cavs team that, yeah, they don't have Darius Garland, but at the end of the day, like outside, like if we isolate Jaylen Brown, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen are all better basketball players than anyone else on the Celtics. And so you probably shouldn't win this game. And obviously Vegas agreed with that. And they went out there and they dominated the game after the first quarter. And I think what you said with Hauser, it's, when he's hot and confident, because it seems like confidence is the big thing with Sam Hauser, where like when he has like 2-3 bad games in a row, it becomes like a bad week in a row, 2 weeks in a row. He just kind of gets in his own head. But when Hauser's hot, and this season he hasn't had like a complete like terrible game at any point to this point. Like he's shooting well over 40% from three so far this season. He's kind of been the one guy from three that is hitting consistently. And I think him coming off the bench maybe is good for him. Obviously, that was his role when we won the championship, and that's been his role the past couple of nights with Minott moving into the starting lineup. It gives you the athleticism and the rebounding. Minott grabbed 14 more rebounds tonight because he's a maniac, and we will be hanging that number 8 jersey in the rafters. Maybe on Monday I'll have like the duct tape Minott on my Porzingis jersey or something.
Do I buy it if they have it? They won't have it at the team store. But do I get ridiculous? I haven't been in the team store at North or at TD Garden in a long time. But in Phoenix, they will put together a jersey for you in the team store. Like I bought a Jay Crowder jersey.
That's cool.
When he got traded to Phoenix, and do they do that at TD Garden? If they do, a Minott jersey will 100% be purchased that night.
They do it for the Bruins.
So they got to do it for the Seas then.
Then maybe they do. Maybe in the ones inside, because I don't think the one at North Station does, but maybe inside they do. I don't know though.
All right. Well, I will be getting to Boston early
to explore,
to investigate. Yeah. I will be obtaining a Josh Minott jersey. I'll be the only person in there other than Josh Minott wearing a Josh Minott jersey.
No, but I mean he's been great, and not to tangent too hard, but I miss when at the Red Sox team store you could get literally every player's jersey, and now it's like 3 guys. Like we used to be a proper country. Like I used to be able to go in there and see like a Kelly Shoppach jersey and be like, I don't think anyone has bought this, and probably no one did, but you had the ability to. And
who are you willing to trade to Turkey to get somebody to make these jerseys?
We can send Garza to Turkey. I don't think we'll miss him that.
I don't know. I don't want to deplete an already depleted center core.
That's fair.
Garza's hooping. Would they take Baylor Shireman in a 2nd round pick?
Maybe a Ron Harper Jr. type of move. Maybe they want to invest in a guy who, his dad was a contributor to some great teams. Maybe they want to build a young winning organization in Turkey.
Do we have to specify that it's Ron Harper Jr., or can we just write Ron Harper and go off name recognition and then send Ron Harper Jr. to Turkey when the deal is agreed upon?
I mean, maybe Ron Harper Sr. will want to go too. Like he might not want to leave his son in Turkey, so maybe they'll get both.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
That makes it a deal you can't turn down if you get both and a 2nd rounder.
Yeah, and we won't have to throw in Shireman. That'd probably lower the value of the deal, to be honest. But
are we gonna throw it in the ESPN trade machine?
Yeah. I just wanted to get the number right. That's 5 NBA championships in that trade, by the way.
Is it a full
think of how many
too?
would. Yeah, we got to make the contracts work. I think the Celtics will just pay the jersey maker. Well, I guess the jersey maker what they would be giving Ron Harper Jr. and I guess
he
Ron
also
Harper
has
Sr.
to do the Red Sox team store as well as part of the deal. Like he gets no days off.
Well, yeah.
He's contributing to both the Celtics Bruins store and the Red Sox store, because the fact that I can't buy a Rob Refsnyder jersey, like it breaks my heart every time I go to Fenway. Like I have my Brock Holt jersey, like I have some weird ones, and it's like there should be Rob Refsnyder ones.
Because they want you to buy the actual jersey with Rob.
But they don't sell that either. You have to.
But they want you to. Which is very annoying.
Yeah, and then like they want
Rob's
to put
one of the longest
tenured
tenured players on the team. You should be able to buy his jersey.
Yeah,
in the team store.
I agree, but they don't sell anyone who's not Trevor Story or Yoshida. Like those are the
which is hilarious. Or Duran, but
or David Ortiz.
Yeah, David Ortiz is a City Connect jersey. That man doesn't even know what a City Connect jersey is.
Roman Anthony or anyone.
I'm sure that'll be different next year.
Yeah, but still, the fact that you couldn't actually buy a Roman Anthony thing by like September was insane.
Yeah, I think again we are going to go on a tangent on this. I think they view it through the lens of like people won't buy these jerseys, but like that's like the opposite of the truth. You show me niche jerseys, I might buy one every time I go to Fenway or TD Garden. Like, oh my god, today I can buy a freaking not Greg Weissert. Today I could buy
Zach Kelly,
Steven Matz jersey or a Zach Kelly jersey or a Rob Refsnyder jersey.
Oh, Nick Sogard jersey would
you're telling me that if there was a Jose De Leon jersey in the team store that Jordan Leandry would not be purchasing that? I'm sorry. It's lunacy. Lunacy. I would 100% be doing that. You know what I don't buy? I don't buy the Star jersey. The last time I did was Devers.
No, I hear you. And even if it's not the full jerseys, I feel like t-shirts should be the whole 26-man roster. Every single guy should be able to get a jersey of. And that's how it used to be in the Bobby Valentine years and the early John Farrell years. I could go to Fenway Park and get a t-shirt of any guy I wanted. Now it's like Trevor Story or Massa or hang yourself. And it's like, well, no, I don't want to do any of those.
I don't want to hang myself.
Like,
so why is it the most enticing option?
You gotta do Massa for the international sales.
No, totally. And like there are
and Massa's kind of niche at this point. He wasn't 2 years ago, but he is kind of now.
Yeah. And like there was a little kid in a Massa jersey when I went to Petco, and that made me laugh. Because I'm like, well, it travels. There's Massa fans across the country.
He's a global sensation. He is the #1 tourist in America or wherever he is located when he is doing his touristing. When he posted on his Instagram story the other day, just that picture of him where he looks like he's photoshopped in, like he really gives GTA NPC energy. Like, it's just every time he is on camera, I'm like, that dude isn't actually there. He is 100% just photoshopped in.
Do you think maybe that's why he's a slow starter, because he hasn't like fully generated into reality yet?
He's still downloading. His roster update hasn't hit yet.
He hits.
Yeah, it's true. And in October. Anyway, let's get back to the Celtics. Yeah, they won by 20 tonight, which was nice. Improved to 2-3 on the season. So again, like I said, we've done the whole turnaround from the whole 180 from #1 pick is happening to banner 19 being hung right next to Josh Minott's retired jersey in June. And yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of settling back into that part where I'm like, okay, there's going to be a lot of games that make me want to die, but they'll probably win enough to warrant Jason Tatum coming back in March and vying for, maybe sneaking as the 5 seed and not having to deal with the play-in tournament, which, by the way, again, I don't want to beat this hypothetical into the ground, but I'm going to probably anyway. Even if Tatum is rusty and not shooting well when he comes back, the Celtics as a 6 seed with him playing, that is dangerous. Like, I don't care how shit the front court is, which, by the way, if they're good enough to warrant bringing Tatum back, they've probably traded for a big as well. That doesn't mean it'll be a good big, but it'll be a big.
It will be Bam.
It will be Bam Adebayo. Enjoy Miami Anthony Simons. You get a shiny new Terry Rozier to replace the one that's going to prison. Allegedly. But
we should have had him give not gambling advice.
Yeah, except, yeah. Are we going to trade Terry Rozier to Turkey to get Jaylen Brown back?
Would they take him with the allegations?
Yeah, they don't give a fuck out there. I'm just assuming. They probably don't give a fuck.
Probably legal there.
Yeah, they don't care about sports betting. They care about not being Enes Kanter. But anyway,
they want you to be able to guard the pick and roll in Turkey, and so that is why Enes Kanter is not welcome. If you guard the pick and roll like that, they just ban you from the country.
Yeah, seriously. But Any last takeaways from this game? I know we kind of didn't really talk about the game itself. We started talking about jerseys and Masataka Yoshida instead. But again, another blowout victory. It does like there's not a whole lot to deep dive in other than like those role players. Like I'm enjoying the Luka Garza, Josh Minott experience so far, and I don't know how long I will. I will always enjoy the Minott experience because this is. I said before the season that he was going to be a good player. So I will. He could suck, and I will not admit it. It's like the Blue Jays. Not to go back to baseball. They'll win. They'll win the World Series. I won't admit they were a good team this year. I won't do it. I'm too dedicated to the bit. But yeah, any final takeaways from this game?
It was just good to see the role players have like 2 good back-to-back games. And I felt more like Celtics basketball too, with them playing well defensively after the first quarter and just like knocking down threes and seeing TD Garden alive. Like that was probably the most entertaining it's been to watch them this year. Even though it's only been 5 games, small sample size, but
Yeah, it definitely was the most complete a victory. You know, considering the Cavs, even without Darius Garland, are still a functional roster. like the you take Zion away from the Pels, it's Jordan Poole. Like at least Donovan Mitchell's still there, and like Mobley and Jarrett Allen. But like
And DeAndre Hunter is a good player. Like
Yeah.
they're a complete team. They're a team
Yeah.
that realistically should be competing to get to the finals. So the fact that you stole a win against them, granted it was at home, but still, like you were a home underdog for like I don't know when the last time the Celtics were a home underdog was. Like
Probably the last time they were 0-3 to start a year, which was the 13-14 season.
Right. It's like they haven't been home underdogs in a long time. So like it's nice to get this out of the way, and you get that rematch against the Sixers on Halloween. Please, can we guard Maxey and Edgecombe? Please.
just leave that
I'll
be
settle
about
for
it.
one of them. I'll settle for one of them. They cannot combine for almost 80 points again.
But it seems like they do every game.
So they're due for a dud, is what you're saying.
That's like the scary thing is like they're just fucking like Maxey is at 37 a game and Edgecombe's at 25 a game. Like they just are doing this every night.
Yeah, that is true. And they got Philly, then they got Ime and Kevin Durant, and then the Jazz, and then the next time we record will be following the Jordan Poole-less Washington Wizards.
Yeah, except now they have old Jordan Poole with CJ McCollum. So it's
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, again, Celtics 2-3 on the year. They got 4 games between us recording again. What's their record going to look like? I guess we don't have to break it down game by game. I feel like people probably kind of have an idea of what games they should win and what games they shouldn't in these next 4. But I'll lead off here, and I say that they will be 5-4 when we record again. So it'll be win, loss, win is my official prediction. So I know I said we don't have to go game by game, but I'm going to. They'll beat Philly, lose to Houston, beat Utah, beat the Wizards, and be 5-4.
Yeah.
Jack, what do you think the record will be?
I'm really thinking about this Sixers game. Like, I agree on the other 3 games. I think they're going to lose to Houston, which sucks because I'd love to beat Ime at the Garden and to beat Kevin Durant at the Garden. But I just don't think they have the tools in the toolbox to do so. Now, granted, they just beat Cleveland. So, maybe they're going to take on that adversity. And Mazzulla is going to be extra motivated to win that game as well. There's a lot there. So they're going to want to win that game. It's just Houston, even if they've been a little underwhelming to start the season, they're just a more complete team than you, even without Van Vliet, which is a devastating loss to that team. But I think they'll beat Utah. I think they'll beat Washington. Those 2 teams are kind of in disarray. Markkanen's been incredible to start the season. It's hard to tell if a lot of it's just volume scoring or if he's just actually insane right now. But he just dropped 51 on Phoenix the other night. He's averaging, I think, like 35 a game. he's on a heater to begin the season, but they're just not a very good team. And then the Wizards are the Wizards. They ever since the John Wall, Bradley Beal era concluded, they've been consistently the worst team in basketball. I do not fear them whatsoever. Like they suck, and they've consistently sucked. I think if it was at the Garden again, I'd go with you with the 3-1 over this stretch. I'm gonna be conservative and say 2-2.
All right. Yeah, I do think also, real quick, if there was ever a game for Derek White to pop off, that Houston game makes a lot of sense too.
I agree with that.
So, like, I think Jalen, like, the efficiency isn't going to hold up over 82 because he's not like it's just not who he's ever been. But Derek hasn't had a good shooting game yet, and when he
Nor has
does,
Pritchard.
and nor has Pritchard, and like Simons has really only had one. So like, although Simons probably is going to get abused by Houston because of the defense, they'll put a shit ton of pressure on him, but.
Houston is also just a weird matchup against the Celtics because Houston is massive and the Celtics are tiny. So like it's gonna be a weird thing happening where like Amen Thompson is the smallest guy in the Rockets starting lineup, and he would be what? The second biggest guy in the Celtics lineup besides Keita, or maybe Minott might have an inch on him, but like Minott and Thompson are around the same size. Like it's going to be a weird mismatch of height on the court because Pritchard and White are going to look like tiny compared to these lanky freaks running around on Houston.
Yeah, I do wonder if like the way the game's like paced, like if the Celtics can turn it into a track meet. I mean, I guess the Rockets are super athletic, but they're also, you can use that size against them by making them run around a ton.
Totally.
And especially Durant because he's 400 years old.
And Şengün because he's the weak part of that defense.
And he does not move well at all.
And Steven Adams is a million years old.
Yeah, so the Celtics can exploit it. The question is, I mean, again, it'll probably all year come down to what they're doing from three. But if you get a good Derek White game in that game, I can totally see that flipping into a win. And then, similarly to what you said, Edgecombe and Maxey, like they haven't lost yet for a reason. But they have to at some point, right? And Embiid's still kind of been ass. We'll see. But so you have them at 4-5. I have them at 5-4. Jamie, where do you think they'll be when we record again next Wednesday?
I think 5-4. I think the only game they lose is the Rockets, but I feel like that's going to be an entertaining game. If they're hitting threes, I think that's going to be closer than a lot of people think. But I think, 5-4.
8 p.m. start. That's not a nationally televised game.
Yeah,
for
that's
Rockets?
Weird because the only nationally televised game is the Sixers game on Prime.
Yeah, it's really, really bizarre to me. Like you have an 8 p.m. on Saturday, day after Halloween game. Celtics Rockets is maybe it was at some point, and then now it isn't because
maybe they like originally planned on it, something changed and they forgot to move it. Like, which is legitimately possible. Like that could totally happen. That they realized like, oh shit, this other game's happening.
Yeah. I don't know, because I mean Jalen versus KD is definitely still a worthwhile matchup, but like if Tatum was playing, that's 100% a national TV game without question. Especially with Ime coming back to the
national
Garden.
game. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. The only national game that day is Golden State, Indiana, with no Halliburton. So, I don't see why that's a national game. With Halliburton, I'd see why it is, but without Halliburton, I don't see the point of that being a national game. So the slate sucks that day. Like Celtics Rockets is by far, until you hit 10 p.m. Dallas and Detroit. Like, okay, that's something, but until you hit that 10 p.m. Dallas Detroit game, there is nothing going on Saturday worth watching besides the Celtics and Rockets.
All right, we're going to petition to ESPN and get that game on national TV. Although maybe it's just because the Celtics have already played 2 games on national TV because they played tonight on national TV. The Knicks were on Prime. And then they're going to play Prime against the Sixers. Putting them on national TV back-to-back days would be
with no Tatum.
With no Tatum would be insane levels of glazing. There'd be 5 national TV games in their first 7.
You know, it'd be back-to-back
Or
nights
4.
too with the
Yeah.
Sixers game. So yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it makes some sense, but the starting time is what's really throwing me. Like, why is it at 8 p.m.? Make it 6 if it's not going to be a national TV game.
It's crazy how they play the Sixers 3 times in their first like 10 or so games.
And 2 of them on national TV because that game's on Peacock and NBC.
Yeah, 3 of their first 12 games are against the Sixers. Like that feels not well distributed.
No, but scheduling is always weird because, like, why did the Red Sox not play the Yankees till June?
Why did the Red Sox not play an AL East team next year after July 28? I figured that out today at Fenway
I
Park.
did not know that.
Oh, at Fenway. Okay, I was gonna say
the
that feels really odd.
Yeah, the last Fenway Park game against an AL East team next season is July 28. After that, it's a whole bunch of non-AL East teams for 2 months.
Yeah.
The expanded
Scheduling makes no
interleague was
sense.
bad, actually.
It was great in theory, but it's an irreparable damage to scheduling. But I'd rather the end of the year be the divisional games. Let's get all those interleague games out of the way in April.
No, we got to wrap up against the Cubs, Jordan.
Have to. Now I mean, at least from like a historic standpoint, that's like a cool matchup to end the year on. But like every game on the final day is at 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. So like it's not even like it's a standalone.
Yeah.
Which is
Kyle Tucker will get to play his old team after the Sox sign him to like a 6 year.
That is true. That is true. But yeah, any final thoughts before we wrap this up? Oddly enough, the Celtics get 2 wins, and this is our shortest recording of the 3 that we've done so far.
For anyone who's not on the Minott hype train, you should get on that.
You should get to Boston early on Monday and find a way to get a Minott jersey.
Find me looking around TD Garden, lurking, trying to find myself a Minott jersey.
Or if you want a Yoshida jersey, since we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, you can always walk out. You can always get on the train, go down to Fenway, get a Yoshida jersey. TD Garden will be selling Yoshida Celtics jerseys, but no Minott jerseys.
They'll be selling the David Ortiz Celtics jersey.
Without question.
The city jersey too. It won't be a white or a green jersey. It'll be some weird alternate.
It'll be the old banner jerseys.
Yeah.
From like 2021 or whatever when they debuted those.
It'll be those gross black and neon green ones from last year. Those were terrible.
Yeah. But anyway. So that'll do it for this edition of the Hour Back Report. Again, episode 3 for Jamie and Jack. I'm Jordan. Until next time, peace out. Go Seas.
We did it.